Hello, 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 hello. Oh, I finally got this to work, at least for a little while tonight. Um, I definitely need to get a new computer. I'm working off of an iPad here, and it just doesn't have enough space that a regular desktop computer has. So I'm going to be looking for one really soon. Um, I know this isn't exactly the angle that I want here, and I know you all know that because you used to seeing me do this the other way. However, life happens. We have technical issues sometimes, and other times we have personal issues, that kind of get you off balance a little bit. But hey, that's life, right? Yeah, I know. We all are subject to major and minor changes at any time in our lives because of different circumstances. And we have to learn to go with the flow. And that's just a big life lesson that I've always had in the back. You got to go with the flow. So that's what I'm doing tonight. We're going with the flow. And until I can get out of the computer, that's what I may have to do. I'm doing this on iMovie, and I'll probably have to paste it into Facebook a little after I finish. So another thing that's a little uncommon for me tonight is I want to do a list of things, and I'm going to have to read them. So please bear with me tonight. One of the things, aggression and behavior are things that come out of the situations that we're in at the time. There's something called the Assertive Bill of Rights, and there are looks like 13 rights that we all have. So if you don't mind, bear with me for a few minutes. And this was written by Manuel J. Smith, the Assertive Bill of Rights. You have a right to put yourself first sometimes. Well, hey, big flash. You have a right to make mistakes, which means I do too. You have a right to your own feelings, beliefs, and opinions. You also have a right to change your mind or decide a different course of action. Not every person that we meet and that we get involved with is always going to be the right person for us. Sometimes it takes a couple months to find that out, and maybe you're not ready, maybe I wasn't ready. But life has a way of throwing you some curves. However, it can always be used as a learning lesson of some kind, depending on the people involved. You have a right to speak up if you feel you've been treated unfairly. And I want everybody to realize that. You always have a right to speak up if you feel you've been unfairly treated. You also have a right to ask for clarification when you don't understand something. That's probably the best thing you can do if there's something you're not understanding. Maybe ask the person, would you please repeat that? Or what did you really mean by that? Or what are you trying to tell me? You can always ask questions behind that. And you have a right to ask for help or emotional support, or even physical support if you're not feeling well. You have a right to feel your own pain and express pain. You can tell somebody you're just not feeling good, or you're just not feeling right now. Let me alone for a few minutes, let me compose myself, and let me think about what you're saying, and we'll talk about it when I can. And you have a right to say that. We'll talk about it when I can. Because that means you're not letting somebody push something on you when you're not ready for it or when you're really unsure what's actually going on. You can speak up for yourself at any time. You have a right to ignore the advice of other people. Other people may try to tell you what they think is in your best interest, but not everybody knows all your details. You shouldn't let everybody know all your details anyhow. That's your personal business. Do not put it on Facebook. Ever. Why would you want your personal business on Facebook or any other online entity? You have a right to receive formal recognition for your work and your achievements. If you're doing really great at work, or you're taking classes of some kind, if you're getting good grades, tell it to the world. Now not everybody's going to be interested, obviously, but you can do a little bragging on yourself once in a while. It won't hurt. Just don't have your nose all stuffed up in the air when you're doing it. You always have a right to say no. No, 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 no. You have a right to say no. You have a right to say yes. Yes, 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 yes. You also have a right to be left alone when you want to be alone. Because there are just some times, if you're going through some stuff, maybe you don't want to tell everybody what the stuff is, you have a right to be alone so that you can think and not have anybody else interfering with what's going on, whether it's, a relationship or work or whatever. And you also have a right not to have to anticipate another person's needs. I'm going to repeat that one. You have a right not to have to anticipate another person's needs. In other words, you're not responsible for another person's needs, ever. You are only responsible for your needs. And if you have a child or something, that's different. But under the age of, let's say, 16, you're still responsible for your children's needs. And that's man or woman. If you're a parent, if you're a guardian, you are responsible for an underage person's needs. You have to pay attention to their health, their welfare, how they're eating, make sure they're getting plenty of sleep, the right food. Don't swear and holler and scream at them, ever, because that doesn't do any good, see. Once you get to screaming, they can't hear what you're saying because you're screaming at them. That juggles the brain. And if they're a child, they're not going to understand. So no screaming. It doesn't help anything. Trust me. So, you need to think about these. There are 13 of them that I went through. You want me to go over these one more time? 1, you have a right to put yourself first, sometimes. 2, you have a right to make mistakes, sometimes. 3, you have a right to your own feelings, beliefs, and opinions. 4, you have a right to change your mind or decide on a different course of action. 5, you have a right to speak up if you feel you've been treated unfairly. 6, you have a right to ask for clarifications when you don't understand something that somebody just said to you. 7, you have a right to ask for help or emotional support if you need it, or even when you need it. It's not if you need it, it's when you need it. You have a right to feel pain and express your pain. That was number 8. Number 9, you have a right to ignore the advice of others. Number 10, you have a right to receive formal recognition for your work and your achievements, and you should be proud of your work and your achievements. If not, you can always work on them a little bit more. 11, you always have a right to say no. You always have a right to say no if you really don't want to do something. Or even if you're not sure, you've always got that right to say no. Number 12, you have a right to be left alone when you want to be alone. Don't let someone else invade your space if you want to be alone. Tell them to go away and come back maybe another time, or another day, or another week, or another month. Because it's you saying that. It's you. And you have a right to say that to somebody. Number 13, you have a right to not to have to anticipate another person's needs. Now, I say this as a qualifier because unless you are responsible for somebody under the age of adulthood, which let's say is 16 for the moment. No, I guess I better say 18. You might want to anticipate your teenager's needs, but that doesn't mean you have to fulfill all of their needs when they're that age. Now, if you are taking care of an elderly person, that's different. That's totally different because if you are a caregiver, you need to anticipate their needs. Because as a caregiver, you're paid to take care of that person. As a babysitter, you're paid to take care of that child. So you need to anticipate their needs and anticipate their actions as well. So that, the situation depends on what you do. Now, if you get in a position where you're unsure of the situation and unsure how to handle it, call somebody for help. Call home to ask your parents. Call a big brother or a big sister or an aunt or an uncle or your grandmother or grandfather. Anybody you can think of if you're unsure what to do. Because, we all were young at one point. And none of us were perfect. Nobody's perfect now. I don't know of anybody that's perfect. Thank you very much. Not even me. So don't you be afraid to not be perfect. It's okay. Because we all make mistakes. At some point, we may have to own up to our mistakes that we make. And it's good to do that. And it's good to find out if you didn't know what to do in the middle of that situation, that you did find out shortly after what you were supposed to be doing. If it's a first aid thing, you can call the Red Cross. You could probably call your pediatrician's office or your doctor's office. There are people who can help. If you have Medicare information you need to get to, call Medicare. If you're dealing with Medicaid, call Medicaid. They have 800 telephone numbers that you can use to call them. Look it up online if you want to. You don't have to ask somebody if you feel like you don't want to ask. Look it up online. Just put in there Medicare.gov or Medicaid. I think it's .com. I don't think it's .gov, but it could be .gov. We're in Maryland, so it would be the Medicaid.md maybe, or .org for organization, because it's not, I think it's for profit, but I wouldn't swear to it. So there are things that we can do if you feel like somebody is being overbearing with you, or threatening you in any way, shape, or manner. If you can sneak around and call 911, do that. If you have to do it, do it. Because if you are in a situation where, somebody's going to do bodily harm to you or hurt you in any way, you need to call 911. Because that's what they're there for. So, I'm going to hope that this particular video does well as far as translating and looking pretty good considering circumstances here. But, and if anybody out there has a problem that they want to talk about, we can do that. You can call me. You could message me on Facebook to get back in touch with you. You could email me. My email address is, I'll spell it, KNAUSDIANE@gmail.com. So that's my email address, in case you want to email me. And I'll do it one more time. KNAUSDIANE@gmail.com. So, I just want you all to know that I'm here for you. And I know that people's lives change every day. No 2 days are ever the same, unless you're sick and you don't feel well. But if there's a project you want to talk about, or something, that's fine. We can talk about coaching if you need some coaching. We need to talk some details. We can do an hour at a time. We can do it on the phone. Doesn't have to be done in person. You can pay through PayPal. That's always available. And if you have a project you want to talk about, we can do that too. If you want to start a business and you need some help with that, I can be there for you. We just you need to decide what your parameters are and what you really need and what you're after. I've been a freelance writer for years. I can help you write possibly a grant, something like that. Or even a foreword for a book if you need something like that, or I have lots of talents that can be utilized. And I'd like to do that. So, let me double check one thing. One more thing here. I have a saying here for you. In the scale of destinies, brawn, B-R-A-W-N, will never weigh as much as brain, B-R-A-I-N. In the scale of destinies, brawn will never weigh as much as brain. And that's by James Russell Lowe. So, if you're going to do some coaching, we need to be honest. Because I can't work with you if you're not going to be honest with me. because then how am I going to know how to guide you if you're not being honest? So you have to be honest. And it's important that you pay attention when other people are trying to help you. I know not everybody knows how to do it, and not everybody does it correctly. But if you can feel that you can trust the other person and they're not going to do the wrong thing, then you probably can. I mean, there's this gut feeling that we all have when we meet with people and when we talk to them and when we see them, online, whether it's online or wherever, whether you can trust them or not. And you have to have that gut trust. You just have to have that if you want to get some coaching. Because it's interaction between two people. And when you've got two people that you're trying to interact with, or another person that you're trying to interact with, you want to make sure that you feel that they're being honest with you. Because otherwise, what's the point? So with all that said, it's kind of short tonight, but I wanted to make sure that this gets on Facebook. So I'm going to cut this off at the moment, and I'm going to put it on Facebook, and I will probably put it on YouTube as well. So thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. And for all the people who are off on the sides, hello. I know you're there. Thank you. And we'll be back tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.